Futures trading involves risk and is not suitable for all investors. Content provided in this segment is meant for educational purposes and is not a solicitation to buy or sell commodities.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk. I am Cody. With me from Chicago office, Mr. Andy Fallman. Andy, how you doing on this beautiful Wednesday?
I'm doing a lot better. Now that I'm here doing Tech Talk with you, way better. Way better. How's the hammer?
Hammer's doing well. I've had 6 cups of coffee. We're ready to rock and roll.
How much pre-workout have you had, too?
Dude, I had 2 scoops of pre-workout, and then I had coffee afterwards. So I might have a heart attack during this episode, but that is okay, folks, because we are here and we are loving it on Wednesday.
2 scoops of pre-workout, not just 1.
Yes, sir.
Maybe we could do a chart of pre-workout someday.
That'd be awesome.
All right. We'll find the company that does it someday.
There we go.
Are you ready to get started?
I am ready. CME Weekly Cheese.
So this is CME Weekly Cheese. I had a gentleman that has been trading the dairy market for some time as an options local. Call him Roger Dodger. He called this, I thought really well, the Bermuda Triangle of cheese right now. It's tough to say. I mean, literally 3 weeks ago, we gapped higher. 2 weeks ago, we gapped lower to start the week. This week, we're up, the block's up, 14 cents to start the week. The average is up 12. We're back up against what is basically $2 and started to run into some resistance. Had some trade yesterday. We're a little bit lower. I don't know what to make of this weekly. What stuck out to me was when I looked at it, the monthly, though. This is a monthly of spot cheese.
Cool.
And it's really winding itself up. I mean, this is a nice, tip. This is a pennant. It's usually like a prelude to volatility. It's just a question of, where does it break out? And then, where do you want to measure that breakout to? And, let's say it breaks out to the upside. I think you got to be really concerned about a 240 type number where it started to kind of come down from. Yep. Conversely, if it breaks out to the downside, then, a number like this, this 150, all the support that we saw back, this was in 2021. So tough to say. I mean, we're starting to see some fundamentals that suggest that we could see some weakness here short term. Like Europe, for example, is starting to bring some cheese. They're getting a little bit long in milk. But, again, when you just look at the weekly, I mean, it's bouncing around all over the place, but it's a clear prelude to volatility. So I guess the one thing that sticks out to me here about this one is, you had this big high at 240. We took a shot at, 210. I don't even know if it's really calling it taking a shot at trying to get back to 240, but it's a clear lower high. I drew this long-term trend line too. We closed through it last week and then promptly rejected that again. So we're still looking for this, if we're going to break down to the downside, you got to break through this and then open lower the next week. So
yeah, rejected it majorly.
Yeah. And you think about it too. It looked like it was getting ready to go. A big gap lower. We closed through the upward trend. The futures were starting to go, and then boop. Yep. Thank you though to Roger for the request.
Hey, shout out to Roger.
Shout out, Raj, all the way from Pensacola. All right, we got another one. Hammer of Truth coming in hot here pretty soon. This is March Meal. Why do I have March Meal written twice? Do you know why? Did you do that?
I did. I don't know if I don't think I did that.
All right.
Just want to make sure we were correct.
So I want to make sure everybody knew March Meal.
March Meal.
It's tough to, this one, it's, what's interesting about it is that you kind of have this bull flag that formed. And, you've seen, we saw this prompt rejection of 470, went back there again, rejected again, closed through it this time, and are just kind of 470 seems to be a number that if we can get away from, the market's going to take off.
Yeah.
But it's hard to ignore. You had this big rally, tried to retrace some of it, but barely got anything out of the bears. This was it right here. From 470, call it to 450 after a rally of $70 a ton.
Right. I just changed it real quick and looked at it on a monthly, and
monthly. Hang on.
We are into some territory that we hadn't seen for quite a while, and looks like next testing point is 520. Honestly,
you get it. It's a great chart you pulled up, and you look at the close. So what today? Today's the 11th.
Correct.
So it's still there's still some time left in the rest of the month. But if, let's say we closed here, this was the last day of the month. This was the close. You've closed over, you haven't seen it. You wouldn't have seen a close this high in meal since
2014.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
This could get pretty dicey, explosive.
Right. But look at the volatility that we had in the past, the year of 2022 when we tried to close up here and it just rejected and said,
completely rejected
no,
it.
thank you.
Yeah. You got to be, this is when you got to be really careful. If you're selling it, I think you got to be, really mindful of that type of a close if it breaks down, if it closes above that, because this is a chart that could, get away from it. And it's kind of like when we looked at cotton that one time.
Yeah.
Where cotton was it's, it hasn't traded this price in close to a decade. So then, well, it did, and it still can. So yeah, this is one you want to be super careful of. I'd say if you're selling it, I know fundamentally it sounded like, and learn more about that from Grain Feed, him and Jake and all those guys.
Absolutely.
Else. But yeah, I mean, price action is price action, man. I think you got to be a little bit, if you're selling it, I'd be really careful of this close.
For sure.
Speaking of closes and hammers and truths.
An oldie, but an absolute goodie.
Oldie, but an absolute goodie. What do you think? Get the hammer.
I mean, what we had talked about last week is pretty much playing out, right? We talked about 650 being a little bit of support down there, and we bounced off of 650 2 times this past week, but we just cannot find a direction. And I honestly believe that everybody is waiting for the WASDE report to come out tomorrow afternoon on the 12th. Personal opinion, right? But this market is just not finding a solid direction at this point. Just kind of trading sideways for the past.
Like cheese.
Yeah, exactly. Cheese. Exactly.
Yeah, no, and your point about 650 it's interesting, right? I mean, and I think if you're looking to own it, you've got a point where you're wrong. Right. Like it trades 648 and closes there, and fine. Okay, you're out. But here, I mean, like, when it was Launchpad here when it got through 650 and it just started to go. I mean, it was a solid 30-cent rally there. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking to own it, you've got a really nice spot where you're wrong. So it seems like kind of those odds are stacking up really well in terms of where could it potentially go? Because what if it does start to take off? Then I think right back here.
I think so.
Is the hammer still buying it? What are you doing with this thing?
I think so. If you change it to look at a monthly chart, it really kind of looks like it is winding up.
That's
to take off also, right?
You get a lot of like authority, by the way, when you pull that hammer up. It's just like there's no more please and thank you. It's like pull that monthly chart up. Shut up.
Right. So to answer your question, it feels like the hammer is telling us that corn is a buy.
Hammered.
Again, personal preference, but looking at it on a monthly, we've also bounced off this, and it's kind of hard looking at it on a monthly, but the 20-day moving average, we've just bounced off of those the past couple of months and held a little bit of support here at and around 650 also.
Yeah, to your point, I mean, you're above some big moving averages. So now here's a question for you, devil's advocate. Let's say you get a 645 close. Do you flip and get short?
Looking at a daily 645. I don't know if I would quite look at that until we're below and settle 640.
Okay.
Honestly.
So you want to get below this little guy right here.
I think so, because that's where it really started to bottom out and turn itself propelling higher, in my opinion. But to your point there, if you do get that settle, then close below there, what's the next telling point that we have? I mean, there's a gap down there at 593.
I was going to say where we originally touched, because there was this big trend higher, right? I mean, this was a substantial move. This was 570 to 710. So when it touched here, I think that's a point you'd want to be really mindful of. That's 620, right? Close through that, and then to your point, what is this gap, right? What is this? Right there? Is that what you're talking about?
Yep, exactly right there.
There you go. Yeah. So it's like a little triangle. We can Triforce thing we got going on here. But that said, hammer is buying it. 650 corn, buy them. Get the hammer out. Got it. All right. So last one for you. A lot of talk about the macroeconomics and all that jazz.
The S&P for you and me.
Hiring soon, or what are we doing here?
Well, after this year, I don't quite think so. What the S&P has given us, I think I'll have to wait a few more years to ride that ship out.
Okay, because the chart doesn't look bad.
No,
it doesn't look bad. I mean, it's had this nice like kind of almost U bottom going on here, and it seems to be holding up, I guess, reasonably well. They keep raising rates. There's always like this. There's going to be a recession and all this stuff, but all in all, it's I guess holding up well.
Would this look like a potential cup and handle formation to you?
Could be. Go back to that real fast. Yeah, that very well could be. You'd want to see, so you'd want to take it kind of back to here, right? And then you'd see like a little retracement, kind of like the little handle, and then Launchpad activated.
Right.
So yeah, I mean it's a great spot. I mean like it's the U bottom plus an attempt to break down and then a complete failure of that. So stock's not looking half bad. I mean you had this big uptrend and then it clearly broke out of it and now it's coming right back in. What could be, to your point too, with some of these bigger moving averages. So the blue line is the 20-day, the orange is the 50-day, and the green is the 200-day. So now check out the 200-day. Like, let's say you get that close, that what we just drew here.
Right.
If you could get a close over all three of them, and then open higher and maintain that, I think you get a lot of some retail and all that stuff. I think you get a lot of folks that get on board with a rally there. But who knows what I always butcher this, right? Rice always says it, the sausage in politics. Who knows how stuff gets made? It's a total mystery. Like, you could have this is. I mean, I feel like this is very subject to what the Federal Reserve could do too.
Yeah.
So it's a mystery. But to your point, nice U bottom, potential cup and handle coming in hot. Buy some stocks, buy some corn, buy some meal too.
Buy some meal.
The hammer is just
it's a buying Wednesday. Feels good.
Buying Wednesday.
There might be the coffee talking, but it feels good.
Coffee, pre-workout. Do you work out after taking the pre-workout?
Yeah, so the pre-workout, then I work out, then I come home and take coffee, and then we do tech talk. And it just bam, bam, bam.
So you at least have an order of operations that makes sense.
Right. Super excited about all of them. Most excited about this one.
Got it. Well, that's good. Well, You get to. Do you use the hammer when you work out too, or is it just?
I get weird looks if I bring the hammer into the gym, so I try to stay away from that. I get weird looks anyway, but that's okay.
Whatever. It's not your job to manage someone else's experience of you. Come on.
I like
Take
that.
Take that.
On that note, everybody, we appreciate you watching Tech Talk today. Have a fantastic week. If you have not already subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to the Ever.Ag YouTube channel. Tell your friends, tell your colleagues, tell your kids.
Tell everybody.
Family friendly. Tell everybody. Give us a huge thumbs up, and we will see you next week.
Is there a thumbs up and then there's a huge thumbs up? Is it
button?
Huge thumbs up and then
button, thumbs up, same thing. Hammer that thumbs up button. Let's go.
Let me see the hammer one more time.
Hammer that thumbs up button, everybody.
Done.